76. Way off. So H is your 70s decade, 6 is the year. 76. This is 76 case, last year of the style. So there you go. I guessed wrong. I had 4 years. So there you go. It's a 76 case. So the reason I bought this was I got those airplane motors over there. And I wanted to see if that made to go into this, and I didn't care if I cut that up because it's already damaged. So, because I want to do a 4-cam motor. So this is my airplane 360 cylinders. So obviously that goes almost on there perfectly. So we're going to have to move this down a little bit. So I'm going to put a hole over here somewhere. So it's got to move down about to here, probably a little bit further down. If I weld some bosses in there. So I have to cut the case over to where I think it'll sit. About like that. Yeah, probably about in that area is where the cylinder would sit. Maybe to the left about 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 inch. Probably 1/4 inch to the left. And then I can put that on there. And hopefully these push rod holes will line up with those cams down there. Straight down. And you can see how the cylinder's too far over right now. I didn't know where it was supposed to be. Spacer. So let's try this again. Okay, see how the push rods kind of line up now, pretty close. So if you put the case right against that edge there, you should be pretty good. And I could probably cheat it in a little bit. Alright, so if I put this edge here against this edge of this case here, then I could have enough room to put the bolt holes in there and all that. I'll have to put a spacer in the case about that wide to take up the width, but that's possible. And I'll have to come up probably about that high also because it's such a big bore. But yeah, we just cut the whole back of this away and it would work. See, that's the only reason I bought that case, is to do that. The only reason I did that. I wanted to see if that was going to fit. Okay, got the Sportster case laying up in the vise here for mock-up here so I can see things better. Excuse me. So this is a 76 Ironhead Sportster case. And this is a Continental 360 flat 6-cylinder airplane motor. So I'm going to put that on there like that. If I put it over about there, the push rod covers are probably going to line up pretty closely going up this way. An angle. Shoots them down right to the holes coming down. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but so I can move them out a little bit further. Probably would be better. You know, we got a bolt hole right there that looks pretty damn nice. How's that fit? That's about a straight shot right there. Right down. So if I come off that stud hole, it looks pretty close. I gotta look at this from a different angle. Here. So I can see what other things are going on at this angle. There's a lot of stuff we're looking at here. Camera here a bit further. Hey, don't look at me. Look over here, dummy. Okay, so we're looking at a couple things here. We got the V angle coming up here. We got clearance for the other cylinder, obviously. So the cylinder can go forward quite a bit and be close to what we want. So that means it's going to be over here someplace. Okay, it can be at this height here. It can be about that close. So not quite where that hole is. Yeah, that'll bolt in. So it's basically rubbing on the inside of this case right here, which you can't see. Next thing is the push rod angle. It's coming down. That one's lined up pretty close to this one. And this one over here, centered here, is slightly forward, but pretty close. So this one looks like it lines up really, really close. There we go. Some illusion of material to see what we're really looking at. Okay, so yeah, it's about there. So that hole's actually back further. About where it sits. Didn't guarantee. Yeah, that's pretty close. Okay, so that's about where the cylinder's square at, right there. Okay, now let's see what happens. Put the other one in there. This one is too far back. It's about a 1/4 inch further back than it needs to be. So we're showing a wider distance between here and here. Okay, but that doesn't look too bad. It's definitely a doable situation on a Sportster case. So things are kind of lighting up through here, pretty close. And over here in this angle, whoop, you can see we're at this angle. It's hard to hold it where I want it to be. So we're a little bit further in. We need to go this way a little bit. We're pretty close. I want to be able to grab these holes and bolt them in the case. So yeah, that's pretty close. So we're going to have to come back this way about a 1/2 inch further back on the back of the case. So this smaller bore motor, you're only going to hold about a 1/2 inch of material back here behind this bolt hole. Of course, that bolt hole has to go away too. So that means you got to go back about 1 inch to have a bolt hole there too. And that'll fit onto a Sportster, which gives you a 4-cam motor. That'd be pretty good. So the advantage of a 4-cam motor is obviously Harley has a different intake system and exhaust system than this motor does, because this is exhaust intake, which is like a Harley for the rear, but then has an intake exhaust. Well, this just has another exhaust intake. So these two cams are wrong. They're backwards. These need to be an exhaust, that needs to be an intake. Well, with a Sportster cam, you can actually put the cams, when you put aftermarket racing lobes on your cam, you can put the exhaust lobe on this cam, the intake lobe on that cam, and make the cams you need to make this motor work. When you're on a single cam motor, you can't do that. They're all one piece. That'd have to be a special made cam, big bucks. In the Sportster, you're just buying racing cam, which is normal price, which is half a custom cam would be for a big twin, at least half the price. So plus you can have the push rod angle nice and straight up and down like this motor's made for. So the next thing is there's also different valve angles, or not valve, cam lifter angles, I should say. So when you come down straight down the block here, see how it's not in the center? See, it's an off-center cam. If it was on center, it'd be over here. And you see I'm in the back of the hole here, the lifter. Excuse me. So your 5-speed motors and the new rubber mount motors are on center, and Ironhead Sportster and the early Evo 4-speed Evo bike is all off center. So I think that was a split on how these worked. So this one, the lifter is too far forward. And on this one, the lifter is too far back. So they got them going opposite directions if you look at it. There's off center, on center. So, if I'm actually, oh, hold on, I'm doing that. Am I doing that wrong or right? You got to be 90 degrees here. Yeah, that one's too far back. And this one is too far back. Oh, hold on, I'm getting confused here. Okay, this one. Okay, this hole is too far forward. This hole is too far back. So they widen the distance between these. So this is, oh, what is that, about 2 3/16 of an inch on center. And this one over here is, looks about the same. A little over 2 1/4. So about 2 1/4. That's pretty close, 1/16 off. And I was getting distant. Looked different with the rod sticking through it, but so this is actually slightly wider than this, pretty close. Now if we go to on center cams, and these, see how narrow it would be? It'd be like 2 inches. Get in here. Yeah, we're under about 1 7/8 inches, 1 13/16. Probably 1 13/16. Could be as much as 1 3/4 almost. Maybe 1 3/4. So it's quite a bit narrower if you're on center. So I haven't actually measured later cases yet, but will be going to. So this iron head bolt pattern here, or I mean push rod lifter angle, whatever you want to call it, is just matches up to this airplane motor pretty close. Whereas if I used a late model 5-speed case or a rubber mount case, it probably would not line up very well at all. Which is a good thing to know, because I was getting ready to buy some of those cases. I was going to buy 4 different cases. So now that I got this iron head one that came in, that saves me money. I don't have to buy the later ones. So the next case I'm going to buy is probably going to be the 86 to 89 or 290 4-speed Evo Sportster case. I think that's going to be the candidate for what I need to make this work, because they have a taller deck on those Evo motors, and so I'm thinking that's going to help me a little bit, but we'll find out. I'll find one on eBay and get it. I've been looking at a couple of them tonight, so well, that's what you got to do. You got to figure this crap out. Now if I take this big ass one, and this is the 525/50 motor, so that's 520 or 550 cubic inches, because it has a little bit bigger bore on it than the other one. This one would have to be a lot more welding on this motor. Yeah. There's a hole right there. There we go. Excuse me. So that one there, that hole doesn't line up either. But that's where that'd have to sit. And you can see how the push rod angle would be definitely off there, but it's all right. Push rods can go at an angle. But we can move this cylinder forward probably, not much, 1/4 inch from where it is. That's if we're at this deck height. Now the higher you go, the more you can move it forward. So right now we're way off center. Okay, I'm going to have a problem here holding this here. Hopefully don't drop this. Pissed me off I dropped it. You can see how much wider the case is going to have to be. We have to add a couple inches in there at least. Probably about 2.5, 3 inches I got to add. I'm going to guess 3 inches. So that'd be a little wider crank than stock to put that big motor on there. But that's something I'm going to do at some point. I definitely need a bigger case than this to work from. But that's the plan. So this motor here, like I said, this motor's gonna be 130 to 140 something cubes. And then your big boy motor over here, that's gonna put you in 150 something cubes all the way up to 200 cubes. And then if you want to put a really long stroke, not that little baby stroke 4 5/8, but like a 5 1/4 in it, it goes up 230 cubic inches. Not too bad. But for now, we're going to play with this one. Alright, so I'm liking how this one lines up with the push rods fairly even. That's good. Alright, so there you go. I learned something. So that money I spent on that piece of crap junk case gave me the information I needed to go by to figure out what I needed to buy to make it look really good. And I still got the back half of the case used for a replacement for another broken case that matters, because this one doesn't matter. Alright, there you go. Work in progress. Could be working on that one. Nah, we don't want that one.